Hickok 45. Wonder if this gun is loaded. Well, actually, it's not. The ammo is in my hand. Let's load it. Take a shot. See if I can get the bullseye. Oh, must be broken. Let's go here and check it out. Talk about that, okay? So apparently it's not going to fire. I don't know what its problem is, but we'll see, okay? Yeah, we're going to talk about an issue, kind of a, oh, I don't know if it's an issue or not, but it started out with a question. I get a lot, of course, about why I load 5 in the revolvers or single actions especially. And someone left a comment on a video this past week that got me to thinking, and that's dangerous, isn't it? They said something about how, well, loading 5 in one of these, it's like carrying a Glock without a round in the chamber. You know, why would you do that? You know, kind of thing. And I'm not sure how he phrased it, but that was kind of the spirit of it. And I thought, well, that's not the same. You know, that's not the same. But then I thought, well, maybe he doesn't know it's not the same. Maybe a lot of people don't really fully understand about that issue. Okay, so let's just talk about it. Lots of new shooters out there, lots of new gun owners, okay, and then a lot in between, and a lot of people who have not fired, you know, some variety of firearms. They maybe have fired a bolt action rifle a great deal, but not fired something. So I may assume too much sometimes, and I think most of you know, okay, where I'm going to be talking about. But so yeah, it occurred to me, maybe people have a different perception of loading 5. Not everybody. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just think, well, you might as well go ahead and put that 6 round in. Why make it a 5 shooter instead of a 6 shooter? And the only downside to it is you have 5 rounds instead of 6. A lot of people understand that. But again, that comment made me wonder if some people maybe are not of the impression that, particularly if you don't know about these old revolvers or any revolvers, if I put a round in here, okay, I'll just put one in, and I bring in the cylinder around, I'll let the hammer down. So leaving an empty chamber under the hammer, that's the big issue, okay, of course, for safety. And some people, well, you could put it on the half notch. Well, yeah, but those break, okay. So for real safety, you want to load 5 on these old action revolvers. And perhaps some people think it is like a Glock. Let me lay that down. It is sort of loaded. And it's like this Glock right here. And I seemed so perplexed at the beginning of the video, right? If I put a magazine in it, they view that just like that. Is that gun is useless until what? I've got to do something else. I can't just shoot it. I've got to work the slide before it'll fire, right? Okay, that's true. So I'm not ready. I got to do some stuff before that thing is really loaded. Well, I think maybe some people really are of the opinion, since there's not a round under the hammer in the chamber right there in line with the barrel, that this gun is the same way. It's going to take an extra something to get it to fire that it normally wouldn't take, since I have an empty chamber. Well, let's see. Okay, there's not a round under that hammer. Let's see if it'll fire. I cock it and boom, guess what? It didn't take anything extra. All right, now I know this is really basic, but I want to talk about this a little bit, and then even with some other firearms. And for you experienced shooters, you might want to, you know, go back to your ball game or cartridge. But really, it dawned on me, I don't want to assume too much, but that might be the case for some people. So what you're doing when you load 5 in one of these is all you're doing is downloading it, okay? It's just like if I decide that whatever this magazine holds 9, that I just want to put 6 in it. That's really the only difference. It doesn't change the operation of the firearm. And then of course, as we're talking about that, you have to know, it's why we skip one, which way the cylinder turns. And on a Colt, it turns clockwise, all right? We won't go into the history of that today, but clockwise. So when you load it like that, the John Wayne load, you end up with a hammer on an empty chamber and 5 rounds in all the other chambers, okay? So basic idea is the firearm is not unloaded. It's fully loaded. It is ready to go as it can be. I mean, in your holster or whatever. Now you could carry it around cocked, if you have a suicidal tendency, right? But no, it's just as ready to shoot, even though there's nothing under that. All right, let's do that again just to show you. Now look where the rounds are moving. The cylinder is turning clockwise. It just brought that round when I cocked it under the hammer. Now it's bringing another one under the hammer. See? That's just how it works. Oh, got them all right? So, most of you know that, the vast majority probably. Just want to cover some basics for new shooters and people not familiar with this sort of thing. For one thing, if you think about it, if you were of that opinion, I mean, don't feel stupid. You know, I'm really stupid and I don't feel stupid. I mean, think about it. Once I fire this, bang, okay, every time I shoot it, then I have an empty case under the chamber. So it's the same situation every time I pull the trigger, right? So the next, something has to bring a live round under the hammer. And that's what does it, right? Okay, so and then they turn clockwise on a Colt. Okay, a Smith & Wesson turns counterclockwise. Notice that this is Smith & Wesson, so when you cock it. And even on a double action, a Colt turns, this is a Colt, turns clockwise. Okay, so that's good to know. You know, if you're in a running gunfight, oh, I just got one bullet left, we put it in there. Well, what if you ran over here and put it right there? You're going to be trying to get that round up to shoot back, and it's going to be a while before you get to it, right? So it's always good to know, particularly if you got a little carry revolver, you know, where put the round. Okay, so I mean, that was the important thing right there. And again, that Glock comment got me thinking. And there are probably some people that just have looked at that in various videos, maybe, you know, first time viewers or shooters or whatever, and just really thought, man, you're just not very well armed. You're going to leave it's like having an empty gun. It's like having this firearm. Okay, well, let's look at these other revolvers before we do that. Again, I've shown you the same thing basically. Now with these, you got the double action on this old new service, so it's going to do the same thing. See, clockwise, you're going to bring that round up and put it where it needs to be. The difference is I can load all 6 on these because this is not dangerous when it's got a block when it's loaded, you know, fully loaded. Okay, but still, you know, things to remember with revolvers. You got a little carry revolver or whatever. Maybe you got a special snake round or something, and people do that. They go out hiking or something. They'll have 2 or 3 snake rounds, and they'll have a regular bullets, you know, or something, in case they see a snake. So they want the first 2 or 3 a snake round, like a little buckshot round. Well, they might put it in the wrong place and they get a bullet, you know. So you got to know that. It's good to know that. Same with the Smith. It's just a little different. Okay, goes the opposite way. So is everybody, most of you are aware of that, but I just wanted to make sure because it's something that comes up quite a lot on our channel. And with an automatic, again, if you're really new to shooting, you know, you saw me when we opened, putting that loaded mag in there does not a loaded gun make, does it? It's not loaded. There's no round in that chamber. How are you gonna, you see how that works, you know, that thing closes up on the round, the back of the round, so how in the world would it, you know, put it in there, just sticking that up there? Unless the slide were back and it closed on it. Okay, so be aware of that. This gun is not loaded until I do that. Let's take a shot with it. And perhaps even more importantly, it's not unloaded when I pull that out, right? Yeah, now it is. Okay, you notice the slide didn't stay back. Why? Because I didn't have a magazine in there. Okay, so this gun is not loaded just because I put a mag in it, and it's not unloaded just because I take it out. You might see somebody shooting and get the wrong impression. They might be in a match or something you see in a video, and you just see them, you know, put a mag in, boom, 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 and then they shoot some more. Well, it's like when I was doing USPSA, you tried to plan out the course of fire so you would never lock the slide back, unlike in maybe the real world. And if you knew you had to shoot 5 or 6 shots here, or 10, and then you had to run over there and shoot 5 or 6 shots at something, or 10 or whatever, well, you go ahead and shoot, and maybe you just have 1 round left, and on the way over there you'd reload it, so you're just top off, you know, your firearm, but you know, nothing's going to lock back because there's still a round in the chamber. Okay, So if you didn't know that, be aware of that. This is, again, really basic. Lever gun, most people understand that, I think, the concept. There's not going to be anything in that chamber until I work it in with the lever, right? Just like with this, until I cock that hammer back and bring it around, okay? Or with that semi-automatic pistol, until I bring that slide back and put it in there. So I can put ammo in here all day long. Let's see, I've got a little 44 here. So I'll put this couple in. So I can have this tube fully loaded, of course, and nothing is going to happen. And I guess, it comes down to when you define a loaded gun, there's actually some gray area, I guess. So is that gun loaded? Well, yeah, technically, but it's not fully loaded, right? So let's take a shot on this paper. We're at it. There's one more round. So you see the round in there. It brings it up, puts it in the chamber, and then you shoot the hog in the head. So just cocking the hammer doesn't make this gun loaded. It's irrelevant. There has to be well, it's not irrelevant, but there has to be a round in the chamber, right? Okay, that's how it works. I've told you all many times, when I'm just shooting around plinking, I just leave a round. I'll shoot it, like I may have 10 rounds in there, and I fire a couple, I'll just not rack a fresh round in the chamber. I'll leave that empty round in the chamber if I'm walking or doing whatever I'm doing, because I'm usually not in combat with this, and it's really safe that way. Okay, a semi-automatic rifle, it's basically the same as a handgun, pistol, right? If there's nothing in the chamber, which there's not going to be anything in the chamber when I do that. All right, this gun is not really loaded. Watch, boom, click. See, it's just not loaded until I do that. Now, I think it's loaded. Do I have to shoot it and get it dirty? I guess I will. I don't know if y'all are worth it. You think you are? Bowling pin. Boom. Same deal. I take the mag out. I'm not going to put it on safe. I'm gonna be that shooter because I'm pointing down range. I'm just going to pull the mag out, and if you're not careful, you could be that guy, that person that thinks the gun is safe now. And of course, it's not, is it? Now it should be. Click. So same old deal. Just because you put the mag in doesn't mean it's loaded, and just because you take it out, more importantly, doesn't mean it's unloaded. Now, unless there's one deal with these, if there are still, maybe you might run across, well, a machine gun, maybe a machine gun that fires from an open bolt. A lot of you have those, right? Well, and there's still some semi-automatics around, maybe old school, grandfathered in, that fire from an open bolt. Now, anything with an open bolt, the bolt stays back, and then once you put a mag in, now that would be an exception. That gun is loaded, because it'll be just like that without my fingers on it. And when you pull the trigger, the bolt moves forward and fires it, so it fires from an open bolt. So it is loaded when you have an open bolt. Just a little aside there. Doesn't apply to 99% of you or more, okay? So just while I was at it, I thought I'd, just little really basic reminders about some of those, okay? All right, so any questions about any of those, and don't be afraid to ask, because if you're brand new to firearms, you're afraid to ask, right? I've been there before. You're too shy. You don't want those guys over there to think you're dumb, that you're ignorant. But really, feel free to ask. Oh, yeah, I heard that question. Yeah, why does a Smith turn the opposite direction of the Colt? Well, it's a long story, but they both work the same, other than that. Okay? And, just be very safe and be very careful. And the more you know about them, the more comfortable you are with them, and the safer you are with them. And it is not a big deal that you should load 5 with these old actions. If you've got a new one, a Ruger, or a newer action with the hammer block and all that, you can load 6. A lot of people still load 5 just out of habit, so you don't get into a bad habit. Okay, so it's like wearing seat belts like all the time and just not thinking about it or whatever, you know. And so that's the reason. You go to a cowboy match, they don't care what kind of action you have or how old your gun is, or it's brand new and it's got a hammer block, and they don't care. Nobody cares. You're going to load 5. That's all you're going to load. So that's one reason that we just get into that habit and always do it. So that's the way that works, and I hope that's of some use to you. If not, I'm sorry we wasted your time. Okay, we're trying to be helpful here, not just have fun. We want to have fun and be helpful occasionally. Seriously, there are so many new people to firearms, and we should probably do more things like this. Maybe not this basic, but I'm not so sure how basic that was. I really don't know. I don't know how many people that fellow represents, you know, indicating that that was the same as a Glock without a round in the chamber. You know, maybe more than I expect, or maybe fewer, don't know. So anyway, hope that was of some use. Now you had me get my guns all dirty. Got to clean them. That's okay. Y'all are worth it. We love you. Life is good.
Tired. It's a long walk from where I had to shoot that. Oh man. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. Since you're here, I want to let you know about our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. TalonGunGrips.com. Check out everything they have over there. You can get lots of different grips, the stick-on grip textures for your handguns and rifle grips, so go check them out. Also Ballistol, they're a firearms lubricant or anything else you might need lubricating. It's water soluble and non-toxic. Been using it on the compound and cleaning all of our guns. It's a cleaner and a lube for over 10 years. So Ballistol, Talon Grips, definitely check both of those companies out. And also, while you're on the internet, don't forget to go to hickok45.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok45, Twitter, Hickok45, Instagram, The Real Hickok45, and also I have an Instagram page where I post behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. John, John _ HICKOK45 on Instagram. And the next thing you have to do is watch more videos.